Hello friends, I'm Abhijit Ghosh and today I'm going to talk around how Creative Cloud helps you in re-imaging the creative process, right from concept to publishing. Here I am working on my iPad and I've been working on a creative asset that I've been creating for the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti. I'm inside Ideas and I've put together a sketch by leveraging the tools that this Adobe Ideas provide and utilizing the brushes to put together a brief sketch of what Mahatma Gandhi would look like. I further went ahead and uploaded that to my Creative Cloud storage by syncing in my files directly to my Creative Cloud account. I've already done that, and let me just show you how it looks like onto my Creative Cloud files. So there you can see, you can actually see that this file is already uploaded in there. It has an extension of .idea which talks around that it is being generated inside of Adobe Ideas. I can go ahead and click on this file, which would then open up this file inside a browser, and I can then go ahead and download it in either of these formats. So I've already went ahead and downloaded it into what you call as onto my desktop, and I can now see that file sitting on my desktop in there. Let's go ahead and start working on this file inside Adobe Illustrator CC. So I can just go ahead and open up this file inside of Adobe Illustrator CC. Let's reduce the magnification a little bit, and this is the sketch that I went ahead and drawn on my Adobe Ideas app on my iPad. So let's just utilize this and put together a web layout which I would then hand over to my developer for him to implement. So I'll select all of this, do a Command C, and then go ahead and open up a new project, and I'll paste this illustration in there. Let's reduce the size a little bit and also kind of drag it and place it at the right place. I also would like to have a text greeting Mahatma Gandhi on his birthday, so I just go ahead and utilize the text tool to write down the message, and with the help of Adobe Creative Cloud, now I have the ability to sync my Typekit web fonts for desktop use. So what that means is I can now utilize the web fonts which I'm going to utilize in my final design on my desktop tools as well, and I can see exactly what those fonts look like when my design is actually laid out on a web project. So I've already synced up a couple of fonts, Adley and CalFScript Pro, which are now available on my desktop tools for use. So let's go ahead and select this text and change this to one of the fonts that we've synced up. So I've synced up Caplish, so I just select that, and very easily I see that font getting reflected in there. Let's change the weight a little bit so that it's slightly higher. Also, let's put together text in here which would be basically a placeholder where my web developer would be placing his Edge Animate composition, which would basically talk around some of the quotes that Mahatma Gandhi used to say. So now that we have that, let's just go ahead and utilize the text tool to very quickly draw rough selection there, place, let's reduce the edge, animate, composition there. Now that we have that, let me select that, reduce the font size a little bit lower, let's make that 21, change the font to an Arial black, let's say, and I have that. Now I have my composition and my web layout ready in terms of how I want this to look with my web developer. My web developer went ahead and he's already drawn up an animation inside of Adobe Edge Animate, which basically puts together some of the quotes said by Mahatma Gandhi, also known as the father of the nation, and we've kind of put together an animation which basically plays along with those texts and slightly change in terms of the opacity of how that animation appears. So just to quickly show you what he's put together is something like this, where I have quotes from Mahatma Gandhi in there, and I've picked up, let's say, only four of his quotes, and as I play the animation you would see that the quote becomes visible. Essentially what has been done is, if I just show you on the timeline for the opacity tab, I've just played along and added keyframes for that opacity across the various elements for various sections on the timeline for the various seconds that we have. Now I've done that for all the four texts, and I have a beautiful animation in place right now. So let's just go ahead and publish it. I'll publish that as an OM file as well, so that I can utilize it inside my web design. I'll go ahead and hit the publish button, right? So that would publish this file so that it's ready. Now that it has been published, let's get back to Dreamweaver, where we're going to implement all of this, right from the illustration to having this animate itself. So I've went ahead and created a default layout using the fluid grid layout, and I've just switched to the desktop view right now, and I have three divs that are defined in it. I've just in the first div laid out that message which says happy birthday Bapu, and I have the other two divs right now empty. So let's fill them up and let's see how that thing kind of bridges up in between. So I now go ahead back to my Illustrator file, which my designer has been kind enough and shared it with me. I just select this text, and what I now have within Adobe Illustrator CC is the ability to copy the character style and the CSS related to that style. So I see that it is something that this text is using. It's kind of switched back, so let's just go ahead and do that again. So Cavendish is what I want to select, and I want the point as 48. So now that I have that, I'll just go ahead and do that, and once I go to my CSS properties panel, I now see the same font family and the font size in there. So my first step would be to copy the CSS, which is now available with the CSS properties panel within Adobe Illustrator CC. So I just copy that, and then what I do is I go to my Dreamweaver, and I know which CSS style is affecting this, so I just go to the particular CSS code view. It's already pointing me to that div that affects the style, and I just paste that in there. Now as soon as I place it, right, you would see that in the design view, if I just save it in the design view, it'll kind of resonate to that actual text in reality, right? So I already have that text in there, that greeting message in there, right? Now let's go back to the SVG image that we have in there, which has path information and all. Now with Illustrator CC, I can now even copy paste the SVG code directly. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just select the sketch, do a Command C, and then I'm going to go back again to my Dreamweaver, go to my code view, select my div, and then I'll place my SVG code in there. So now that I've already copied that, I'll just place that, and I have my SVG code copy pasted, which was drawn in Illustrator inside of Dreamweaver. Now let's go ahead and work on the third div. So in the third div, remember what we had to do? We had to insert an edge animate composition. So I just go ahead and utilize, let me switch back to the design view only. I just go ahead and utilize edge animate composition from the insert panel. So once I do that, I am prompted to choose which edge animate composition it is. I'll just go ahead and pick that composition, and I just hit open. So when I hit open, it asked me, do you want to embed this? I said yes, and I'm done. So after that, I can just save it, and let's see how this design now looks. So I'll just go ahead and say preview in browser, and let's pick up Safari for example. It goes ahead, renders that code. I have that sketch in there, and I have the animation as well floating in there. When you're ready with your artifacts and with your stubs, you can simply publish your site to Business Catalyst, which is again something provided with your Creative Cloud subscription membership, which is a hosted application for building and managing websites and online business. And voila, if you really look into it, what we did was we went from a creative idea right in my Adobe Ideas app on my iPad to a published website, all using components of Creative Cloud. Thank you.